the 22nd of October. Madame Tuspel's Museum of Wax Works. Whoa! Whoa! Oi! What is this place? Look at all these terrifying scenes. Why are the people so still? Guillotines, ruthless murderers. I know what I'll be dreaming about tonight. They're all wax models. They're amazingly realistic, aren't they? What do you think, Bruno? Shocked? Wax models? Ugh. I read about dead bodies and wax once in museum about strange phenomena. Depending on how corpses are kept after death, parts of them can turn to wax, apparently. It's called adipistry. Stop talking about creepy things like that, Bruno. You're scaring me. Anyway, adipistry doesn't form readily. Ah! What now? I've just remembered something else I read. Another magazine about strange phenomenon. There was an old lady, maybe a witch, who used a poor molten wax of corpses and put them on display. None of the exhibits in here are real. They're all entirely man-made replicas. It can't be! Do you really expect me to believe that? Just look at them! Oh! There's no way anybody could make models of people that are this realistic. And they're all such gruesome scenes! Wait. What is it? Oh, no. I must be seeing things. Well, we cannot present, but we can examinate. What the hell is this? Is this an arm? It looks like an arm, doesn't it? Maybe one of the wax work models has fallen over. You don't think it could be the work of one of the mass murders in here, do you? Bruno! Stop scaring me! Is it a wax arm or a real one? Come on, you're always pointing at that finger of yours in court. Poke that arm now and see how it feels. Objection! What is this then? That big heavy curtain is in a very, promental, position, isn't it? I have a nasty feeling there's something, to be truly terrified behind it. Oh yes, that's the famous Tuspel's special exhibit. It depicts one of England's most notorious killers. You want to pay the extra fee and have a look? Pay more money to be even more terrified? Oh, let me think about that for a moment. That's only a suggestion. Yeah, I get it. I don't understand why anyone spends money on haunted houses. And frankly, I never will. These models are so well made. You can't tell what's a wax work and what's a real human. Or maybe all the exhibits are real people. And when it's closing time, all the visitors are gone home, you suddenly start moving about. Oh, just thinking about it makes me wish it was closing time already, and I was on my way home. This poor man is so terrified. So if we look over here, this looks like it's Camilla. Is this some famous murderer? Yes, called Jane the Ripper. All her victims were young women. I knew it. You could tell the way she's holding that knife. sure sign of murderer. Oh, yes. Ah! What's the matter, Reno? Worked it out. I know what she's doing. She's trying to fill that bathtub with blood so she can have a soak in her victim's gore. Not according to the information about the exhibit. A little board here. Doesn't mention anything about the bathtub. Really? Sorry, I don't think it's significant. Still think it has to be there for a reason. Yeah, this looks like it's supposed to be Camilla. Is that not the case? Why does it feel like these are mixed around? Okay. Is that not like a guy? I thought that was a guy for sure. Oh, that's a funny place for a little ladder. What is it? Is something wrong? No, it's just that in Japanese, we have a totally different word for a ladder that folds in half like that. We do in English too, you know. It's a step ladder, or just steps. So be careful in making assumptions about other cultures, Reno. That's how wars are started. I didn't realize step ladders were an international point of contention. Well, that really makes an astute point. They are. Now we can look over here. What does this say? It's the great detective, Mr. Herlock Sholmes? Mr. Sholmes has his own wax statue in here? Really? No, that shit moved. Well, he is world famous after all. Uncanny resemblance, isn't it? Makes my skin crawl to look at it. I know. But look, Reno, you can kick this Hurley and he doesn't move a muscle. Can't go around kicking the exhibit, Iris. Wait. it just moved. I'm sure. And not just a little bit either. Really? Did it? Look closely. There are beads of sweat on the face of this waxwork model. Shall we move on, Iris? Over there, look! It's a great murder scene to enjoy. Much more appealing. Hold it! My dear fellow, I take exception to your recoiling in such a manner, as if you've seen something truly abhorrent. Mr. Sholmes. I knew it. Iris, what possesses you? I strictly forbade you from divulging my temporary waxwork, a secret to Mr. Naruhodo. Temporary waxwork? What do you mean? And that kick! Could you not have exercised a little more restraint? Winded me. But Reno has something he needs to ask you. Ah, a question. I thought you'd probably be getting bored too. So here we are! Well, I can't deny that your timing was impeccable. Mere 2 minutes more being stationary like that. My great brain, upon which all my success has been built, would have turned to wax. Thank goodness we arrived in time. Indeed, in many ways, the pair of you just saved the world from an unimaginable loss. Oh, Hurley, you do like to talk nonsense, don't you? You couldn't know something, it's true. About Lord Van Zeeks and what happened in the past to change him. Now that you're here, let's take our time. How can I be of assistance? Well, you're in luck. I'm suddenly quite taken with the idea of conversing. Oh, well, actually, I'm in quite a hurry. If my eyes don't deceive me, I believe something is afoot within the walls of this very museum. A most fascinating case, if I'm not mistaken. Really? Moreover, I have a strong suspicion that this is related to the matter about which you've come to know, to me know. But could that be? We shall speak again presently, my dear fellow. But for now, I must return to my work. What? Back to being a temporary waxwork exhibit? Okay. Can I see this? Ugh. Is this example of Western, Suji Agiri? I don't know what that is. You know, when an unscrupulous samurai randomly attacks a passerby to test his sword. I still don't know, no. But actually, a waxwork samurai would probably be hugely popular. Could you model it, do you think, Runo? Doing that Suji Agiri thing you mentioned? Well, I do have a sword. I have no intention of testing how sharp it is on a human subject. For now, at least. So he knows that at some point he may have to cut a bitch. I did not expect that of Bruno. I did not. Not to say that, like, it's not possible, right? These models are so well made. You can't tell what's a waxwork and what's a real human. That's how Hurley gets away with making himself a temporary exhibit for the day. Maybe there are other people posing as exhibits in here, then? Or maybe all the exhibits are real people. And when it's closing time, all the visitors have gone home. They suddenly start moving about. Just thinking about it makes me wish it was closing time already. I was on my way home. Okay, that's kind of weird that, like, we got the same dialogue just from this little switch here. It looks like that's all well and good. For the most part, despite having a lot of things, there's not a lot to actually look at here. So, let me present to you this again. Presento. I'm rather busy at the moment. Okay. That's 2 hours of gas. My goodness. Alright, okay. Let's just go ahead and converse with him. Madame Tuspels. What is this place? Madame Tuspels came to London from France 3 years ago. I understand. Then she opened this little wax work museum last year. It's enjoyed great popularity in London. There are museums like this in Japan too, but these displays are something else. I mean, they aren't made from actual real people, are they? The extreme realism of these wax work models is a particular secret of the Tuspel family, they say. They earned renowned during the French Revolution for waxworks of victims of the guillotine. Ugh, that sounds grim. The gruesome scenes were portrayed with such realism in the expressions of the faces of the condemned. Apparently, sculptors would make the models directly from the corpses, right there at the site of the executions. That really turns my stomach. That's just one of the several legends about the Tuspel family. Whether there's any truth in it, I couldn't say. But anyway, this museum houses models of famous people from all over the globe. Nevertheless, the most popular area of the museum, by quite some margin, is this House of Horrors. House of Horrors? Of course, visitor numbers are dwindling now as a result of the Great Exposition. But people usually flock here to see the exhibits of some of London's most vile criminals at their gruesome work. Naturally, most of the miscreants portrayed here were sent to the gallows. So they're even stiffer now than the models of them. You heard of poor taste? My dear fellow, the public live for poor taste. They yearn to be shocked. So, the hideous exhibits in here are... They're all portrayals of real events that actually took place. Is it just me, or did the temperature in here seem to drop? Anyway, I advise you not to think too deeply about what you see here. Oh, he's back to being waxwork, is he? Apparently. Why does he have to do temporary waxwork? What do you mean by a temporary waxwork, Mr. Slomes? Exactly what you see. I'm part of the exhibits here, catching these criminals in the act. Catching them? Every half an hour, I home in on a different killer in one of the displays and adopt a new pose to ensnare them. When members of the public come for a closer look, I offer them my hand to shake. For a shilling, I'll happily allow them to take a photograph with us. Does he mean him and the waxwork murderers in there? But why, Mr. Slomes? My dear fellow, isn't it obvious? For the money. He really roared at me there. Very fitting for the House of Horrors. As it stands, I may struggle to pay this month's rent, and I have the ravenous Irish to consider it. Oh, Hurley, so hungry. If push comes to shove, I shall have to ask you to do your bit, Mr. Nardo. Is he threatening to rope me into now? So, with that in mind, how about a photograph? The special treat. You may have your pick of murderers and scoundrels in here. The choice is yours. Maybe some other time. Remember, Mr. Nardo, ignore me at your peril. Why is he threatening us? Back to being in waxwork again. Just me, or did his final remark there sound like a lot like a curse? The detective's curse. Well, what is it you'd like to ask me then? Actually, it's about Lord Van Zeeks. Ah, our friend Reaper. How did you find him? Well, I trust. So I filled Mr. Slomes in about everything I've learned. About Lord Van Zeeks, about Professor Hairbrain, and about the strange coincidence that they had been in the university together. So I'm wondering what it was that happened to make Lord Van Zeek such a different person. I was sure that you know, Hurley. So there was something going on here in this exhibit hall before. That something was afoot. And that you believed it was related to what I wanted to ask you about? Mr. Slomes? Suddenly clammed up. Well, it seems we've reached the unavoidable... Greetings. Oh, what up, girl? Hi! Oh my goodness. Hello. We love a witchy woman. Oh, hello. Where did she appear from? And what's she wearing? Did she look any more mysterious? Oh, I'm in love, fam. I'm in love. I'm in love. I'm in love with her. Oh, we could have a cottage out in the forest, and I would just, you know, go to the local village and get all the things we need as she does her little witchy breweries and tries to summon demonic demons and stuff. Ooh. Oh, what a lovely life that would be. I hope you're appreciating my museum. Sorry? Have we? Mr. Slomes, do you know this? Not again. My apologies. I am Azarelda to Spells. This is my museum of waxwork. You're the Madame de Spells? Bien sûr. Though only 26 years young, I might add. I just. Boop, boop, boop. Is that significant somehow? I'm a madam in name only. It adds a certain je ne sais quoi. Right. Firstly, I must apologize for my waxworks. Or rather, one waxwork in particular. That'd be Mr. Slums then. I was led to believe he was a great detective, but he seems unable to settle. Next time you move from your designated exhibit, there will be toil and trouble. This is too great. This sounds deadly serious. That's a problem. What am I supposed to ask Mr. Slomes about Lord Van Seeks now? Let's not forget what Hurley said before. About something being afoot right here in the museum? I mean... Yes, I know, but... I'm so curious. I want to know what's happening here. We got enough on our plate already. First, let's try to impress her with one of these. Shabam. Madam, there's something I'd like to show you. Yes, what is it? I remarked on it to myself immediately. I've been very curious since. Well, it's actually the mark of a defense lawyer in the Empire of Japan. Oh, well, dommage. Not quite as interesting as I hoped. What exactly were you expecting from it, Iron? Maybe that we were a part of her covenant? I'm just saying. Maybe. It's still there. Okay. Okay. The waxworks. Do you make all these waxworks, Madame de Spell? I did. I am the third generation of waxwork artisans. You know? Gosh! It was my grandmother who began the tradition in my family. Her fortunes were checkered, living through the turbulent times of the French Revolution as she did. Now that is, when she acquired the savoir faire, at least to astonishing likelessness. All these waxworks really do look as though they're alive. In fact, they look more alive than Hurley. What you see exhibited here represents the most notorious of London's criminal past. All the waxworks were created in the presence of the real people on which they are modeled. In the hours immediately following their executions. That is the secret of extraordinary lifelikeliness. That sounds terrifying. All walks of life have similar challenges, I'm sure. To carry out one's trade par excellence, one must go to extraordinary lengths. My exhibits are a reflection of society. I create only that which the public wishes to see. Ugh. Why could the public have wished for something less horrifying? Do not fear. Sorry? This room is the only one in the museum with such a macabre theme. I do hope you'll explore. There are models of famous singers, actors, politicians. Something for every taste, I hope. Desires who dragged me straight in here. Now think of it. Sorry, perhaps I should have eased you into things. what's the situation with that?
My temporary waxwork model. He approached me some days ago, you see, with a business portion.
Oh, what kind of proposal? My dear madame, what these sparse exhibits need, the addition of a world-famous great detective.
Oh, what's to that effect? Naturally, I am well aware that Mr. Sholmes is widely known in London as a talented detective.
It's great detective, actually. He's very specific about it.
Yes, the creme de la creme. So I was keen to come to some arrangement with him, of course. But sadly, we were unable to agree terms.
Let me guess. Someone wanted to charge an exorbitant price for his services? For a mere 500 pounds! And we'll dive into your cauldron of wax this very moment.
Oh, what's to that effect?
Mr. Sholmes might have overdone it slightly with the sales pitch.
Regrettably, the museum has a shortage of funds at the moment, due to unforeseen circumstances. So we came to a current arrangement instead.
Surely he doesn't really need to do what he's doing, though, does he?
I would think not, but he is very insistent.
I have a 50 shilling problem that must be resolved by the morning.
Or words to that effect. It's the pawnbroker, that's what it is. Must have something to redeem.
Is the consulting detective work not going so well? Okay, then what about a foot? I wonder, could I ask you something?
Then share.
I'm just curious. Is anything going on in the museum at the moment? Some kind of incident, perhaps?
Whoever's suspicious of the thing, you.
Well, it was your temporary waxwork over there who mentioned it to me a little. No, he's disappeared!
A wax model is a work of art, not some tawdry objection for trade.
A wax model is a work of art, not some tawdry objection for trade. Ah! There you are!
Leaving the exhibit again when you should be working. Do you wish to be melted down?
My dear Madam Dispels, save your reprimands. There are more pressing concerns. The wax can wait. It's our ideas about your current problem we must throw into the melting pot instead. Personally, I would advise you not to involve the police.
Why ever not?
She's turned as white as a sheet. Because you have at your disposal a great detective whose services you may employ for a mere 50 shillings. Though, please be aware that I insist upon payment in advance.
Very well. Let us see if the great detective is able to live up to his name. Shall we?
Before I engage my analytical process, I must ask you to clarify something. What, pray, is behind the curtain?
That is the Two Spells special exhibit. There is an extra charge to see it.
Ah, the special exhibit in the House of Horrors. It must have picked a special killer then, I presume. Would you be so kind as to draw back the curtain, I wonder?
Ah, absolutely no. There is nothing amiss behind there.
Nothing amiss, madame. What about the arm protruding ominously from under the curtain? Ah. I strongly encourage you to allow me to see what lies beyond, before the situation worsens.
Yes, very well. I will draw back the curtains, but only a succumb.
I must confess, I peeked behind the curtain earlier. The two spells special exhibit is a very bleak graveyard scene indeed. Yet, somewhat surprisingly, the waxwork killer one would expect is nowhere to be seen. What does strike one, however, is the portly gentleman lying beautifully on his back on the floor. Well then, perhaps, Mr. Slomes, that man on the floor is the ruthless killer himself. I'm afraid not, my dear fellow. He's a perfectly ordinary London gentleman. Not even a waxwork, in fact.
What?
As skillfully made as these waxworkers are, they're always distinguishable from real humans. So, allow me to present my two conclusions. The first is that a sizable business transaction has been taking place at this special exhibit.
Why? Why would you say that?
And the second is that the formidable transaction is linked to a serious crime. She looks as pale as candle wax.
I don't understand.
So, Madame Dispels, as you've agreed to my fee, you shall now have the pleasure of seeing this famously great detective and temporary exhibit at work. The Great Deduction. The game is afoot. Topic number 1. Waxworks Faith. To begin with, we must ask ourselves what exactly is afoot here in the museum. The answer is revealed by the bundle of banknotes protruding so helpfully from your bag. In my estimation, some 200 pounds.
That is my own money.
So what does this large sum of money reveal? Ah, not as much as the involuntary glance you cast, but see, Madame Dispels. Yes, the answer lies where your eyes now fall. The significance of the 200 pounds is revealed by the public notice. Waxwork for sale. Your business has hit hard times, it would seem. In short, you sold the infamous killer, the centerpiece of your special exhibit, for the sum of 200 pounds.
No!
Now, let us explore the next curiosity with which we were presented. Who is the portly gentleman stretched out so peacefully on the floor? It would appear the man has suffered a severe shock, the cause of which is clearly known to you. Unfortunately, madame, keeping secrets does not appear to be your forte. What dealt the man such a shocking blow was, of course, the 200 pounds. It would appear that you twisted the gentleman around your little finger most effectively.
What are you suggesting?
He rashly agreed to purchase the wax work for the sum of 200 pounds. Only when he came to hand the money over did it occur to him what extraordinary amount he was paying. But the money was no longer in his hands. And the result? The scene we see before us. He collapsed in shock. Yes, the killer in the special exhibit fetched a killer price. We can only pray that the gentleman's dreams are not plagued with regret. Sold for cash. Topic number 2. Waxwork location. The question that arises then is what has become of the waxwork that changed hands? Let us consider the problem for a moment.
You cannot possibly...
What immediately strikes me about this conundrum is the young man standing over there. Who is this fellow? To find the answer, we need only observe his neckerchief, such as is worn by policemen as a secret sign to fellow members of the force that a crime is being perpetrated. Yes, this young man is an undercover policeman, currently investigating this museum. I know him well, in fact. It's Sergeant John Clay.
What are you talking about?
The man's quite a celebrity. He received triple accolades at last year's policing awards.
But...
Next, we turn our attention to the old man sat before him, a particularly unsightly visage. I've been watching closely, and he hasn't moved a muscle. Almost, in fact, as if he were a waxwork.
But you...
Your reaction only confirms my suspicions, madame. I noticed it at once, of course. Observe! The telltale sign that instantly proves whether or not this old man is a waxwork is the obvious price tag. Trabunts? A tragically low price, you might ask. Though, perhaps the going rate for aging waxworks riddled with cracks. And yet you sold it to a portly gentleman for an exorbitant £200. The sort of plucky behavior that's sure to attract the attention of Scotland Yard. Isn't that so, madame?
I do not...
Yes, the waxwork he sold has already been seized by the police and remains in their custody as we speak. The old man must be reunited with his grave in the special exhibit. Not a moment too soon. Conclusion? Discovered already. Thus concludes Herlock Sholme's great deduction of this horrifying puzzle.